Another ejection for Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Can the Warriors depend on him?
No, they can't. I mean, he's unstable. I mean, I think that's honest to say. That's being transparent. And, you know, Legs, one of the issues I have with this is that, and I listen to his podcast all the time. There's no doubt that Draymond is super talented. I get what he is on the floor, even though I think that's starting to gear towards diminishing returns on where he is athletically at this stage of his career. But he's a walking contradiction. So on one end, when I listen to your podcast and you're the protector of your team, you're the epitome of the teammate, you're looking out, you're running to the defense of your teammate. There's a heightened sense of awareness that I get from him all the time when I listen to his pod, which makes me just lean into how special he is. But then when I see him on the court and there's that alternate personality that comes out where I'm like, wait, you're everything that you're telling the world that you're not now all of a sudden. Like now you're not defending your teammates because you're putting them in situations where this team is holding on for a 10th spot, trying to fight for a position in the play-in tournament, and you can't gather your emotions. So for me, it's when I hear Steph Curry say things like, we need him, he knows that. Yes, he does know that. It's several months ago that he missed 16 games and how big of a deal that was. So when you put your hand on a referee and that gives you your first tech, and Steph is standing there next to you, I wish we can pull that up. Can we pull that up? Just pull up the video of Steph Curry
the initial
standing next to Draymond as it's all going down. Because the initial reaction for any player is pull Steph away. Like, pull him away. Get Draymond away from the situation. Look at Steph Curry's face. Watch this. Look at his face. You tell me that is not the face of somebody who is absolutely exhausted, who is mentally checked out on Draymond Green. It's like a relationship where that girlfriend or that boyfriend you have does something crazy. When they do something, like they go out, here it goes again.
Yeah,
how many times have we talked about it?
You keep giving them grace. You keep giving them grace. Hey, I'm going to stand by you. I'm going to stand by you. But finally, it's like your actions keep showing me you're not capable of changing.
Yes, and it feels like that line this is the epitome of the line that somebody's checked out. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You're checked out.
Yeah.
Whenever that line happens, like you are checked out of the situation. I can't control it anymore.
Yeah.
How many sit-down talks do we need to do? Do I need to publicly ridicule him? What do I need to do? I'm exhausted of all options. That's what it feels like Steph Curry is with Draymond Green.
Remorse, right, is only greatly appreciated, right, when there's change behind it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's where we're at now. The irony is your question, I love the question. Can they count on him? And my answer typically, and played with a lot of different personality types in the course of my career, was I wanted guys with consistent demeanor. Those are the guys you can count on, right? The irony with that is the reason they can't count on him is because of the consistency of his demeanor.
Yes.
Because he will not adapt. He will not adjust. There is no other word, Molly, for what you saw last night than selfishness. There is no other word because he put his desire in living in this vacuum of his own emotions. That was all that mattered. My ability and desire to rant at this official right now for as long as I want to means more than anything. Means more than Steph Curry, means more than the organization. It means more than us desperately trying to hold on to this play-in spot and play meaningful basketball beyond the regular season. None of that is as important as me expressing my emotions right now over this call, two calls that I think were bogus. That is the epitome of selfishness in a team sport. At some point, that has to be put to the side and look at the bigger picture. The problem is he's incapable of doing it. He does not have the emotional break that most of us have in the moment when you start to lose control and you realize what is at stake in the moment. And I'm not even talking about necessarily just sporting events. It's daily life. There are times you want to lose your cool when you realize, like, what are the repercussions if I do that? And you're able to rein it back in. He cannot do it.
We don't know that he can't do it, or he's just not choosing to. Because there are certain times, right, when you start to get heated and you say to yourself, okay, I got to pause. I don't want to be reactionary. I don't want to act out of emotion. But there's times when you're like, I just don't give a damn.
Well, listen. Was I ever guilty as a teammate in my life of doing something in a moment that was about my emotions where it hurt my team? Yeah, probably at some point. Can't think off the top of my head. Probably. Everybody loses their cool. The difference is this, though. I guarantee you right now, I would have lost sleep over the fact that those guys were not able to count on me. And Jay and I were talking about this. Look, Molly, there's a lot of things and entities you're accountable to as a player that you think about. You're accountable to your teammates. You're accountable to the organization, fans, your family. right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing matters more than the guys that are wearing the same uniform as you in that locker room. And the fact that you're not there when they're hanging by a rope and you got a team on your heels that now has won 10 straight games trying to run you down in the home stretch where you might have a player like Steph Curry sitting at home when the playoffs start, and you had something to do with that because you weren't available on a night when they desperately needed you to guard Orlando's best player. Pablo Banchero is their best player. That's the main matchup right there. You already don't have Kuminga. You're shorthanded as it is, and you allow your emotions to get away to that extent 4 minutes into a game that you leave them out there by themselves.
Draymond Green is brilliant at processing information. We see him do it every possession on the court. Literally, okay, Big's gonna flare, slip. Okay, I'm gonna make a good decision, backdoor cut. He's making reads all the time, but yet internally it feels like he can't make reads on himself in those situations. The second thing, 30 deserves so much better.
Yeah, right.
At this stage of his career,
agree.
at 36 years old, for the numbers he's putting up, to drag this team in that position, he deserves better. And one of the things that's happening about it is I'm getting texts from people that I really value their decision, right? High-level people. And what these texts are reading is, well, how about the leadership of Stephen Curry? That's where these conversations are going. And in my brain, right, processing information, Molly.
Wait, what do you mean? How about the leadership of Stephen Curry? They're calling Steph out?
Yes, right? For him not controlling Draymond. So in my brain, the way I process that is because I know Steph. I spent time around Steph. We were talking about this during Get Up. We wish we could have a camcorder in Steph's car, right? Like all the things that Steph would be saying to his wife and how he's frustrated about, because he's one of the most competitive dudes you'll ever meet.
No doubt.
Draymond Green is diminishing the ultimate legacy of how people are looking at the leadership of Stephen Curry. That's what's happening right now.
The only thing I will say, Jay, I think that's in a group of people.
I agree.
I don't think that's like the universal mentality, right, is to think about Steph. And where are you in this, Steph? At all. I do think there are people that are always going to be devil's advocate. They're contrarians. They're going to raise this kind of question about somebody. To me, that's an ultimate state of
religion. What does this have to do with Steph, though? Like, what should Steph be doing here? What are these critics saying?
These people are saying that Steph should not. Well, look, I disagree with them. Let me state that for the record, right? Because I know him. I know how things have been addressed internally multiple times. But what happens is perception is reality for a lot of people. A lot of people aren't familiar with things that are happening behind closed doors. So there's a tendency when you hear them talk about it, people just keep tiptoeing around it instead of calling Draymond Green out publicly. Now, I get that, right? Like, I understand that. That's not the case because we know what's going on, Legs. But that's what's happening, even if it is a smaller niche of people. Like, these are high-level people now that are starting to look at it that way. And by the way, like, that to me is on Draymond. Yeah. That's on Draymond because I think Steph is taking the higher road and how to deal with it.
Can we play the Steph sound again?
Yeah, that's about as strong as you're ever going to get
from him.
Can
we play that really quick?
That's the way Steph deals with it.
I want to just hear. They're going to get it together for us because I want to hear it one more time and react to it.
One thing I want to say that bothers me about all this, and it happens every time, like where in Draymond's mind, because he comes off this way as if he's some sort of a victim in these episodes, right? That he's somehow like targeted. That's the way his reaction is to it. This dude just got suspended indefinitely by the league for a physical altercation on the court that was supposed to elicit all kinds of change, right? I know this isn't a fight with a player. It's not the same thing. This isn't Rudy Gobert in a headlock. I understand it's totally different, but it absolutely is connected with your inability to control yourself in the moment to an extent that is going to hurt your team on a given night. How can you not put that first at all times? That's what I don't get.
Let's just play the sound one more time. It's Steve Kerr first and then Steph Curry.
Too bad. It was unfortunate. He deserved it. He'll bounce back. I'm just proud of the guys for stepping up.
All I say is we need him. He knows that. We all know that. So whatever it takes to keep him on the floor, he'll be available. That's what's got to happen.
What did that body language?
How tired is he of it?
What did that just say to you? Like, do you feel like that's someone that's not being a leader and needs to do and say more?
No. I don't buy into that at all because of the way this guy's approach has been his entire career, right? And what he does every single night, right? So if anything, man, you're owed something by 23.
Yeah.
You're owed something, Steph. That's about as strong as you'll get out of him. But again, here's what bothers me. Even in that little soundbite, Steph said, we need him. And you know why that bothers me? Because we always talk about these episodes and we preface it by all the things that Draymond has done and all the important things, and they wouldn't have 4 rings without him, and he's this, he's defensive player of the year, and all the ways okay, man, I'm not saying that stuff anymore. I refuse to preface it because those 2 things are mutually exclusive. That doesn't mean, well, if Draymond had more control of his emotions, maybe we wouldn't have 4 rings. No, there's lots of dudes that have rings that control their emotions. So I'm not doing it anymore, and even in just a little bit, that's what Steph just did. Because you can't help yourself. We got to have him. We need him. He's super important.
We got to do whatever it takes to be on the court.
That all goes without saying, man. Yeah. Don't say that stuff anymore. Just go to the other part. That can't happen.